Hey Rebel Scum! I hope you guys have enjoyed the con coverage that we've been bringing to you over the past week. What's a con without its exclusives? So our friends at Diamond Select gave us a copy of their latest Jumbo, and this is going to be R2-D2 Droid Factory. If you're not familiar with Droid Factory, it's a vintage playset that allowed you to build a variety of droids by giving you a bunch of parts, including R2-D2 with his third leg, as you can see here on the box. So a little bit different. I bet you're looking at this and wondering, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't look like a Jumbo because it's not on a blister card, it's not featuring that artwork. Well, the Droid R2-D2 from Droid Factory was not on a card back, so there wouldn't be card back art, but Diamond Select Gentle Giant has done a variety of different Jumbos and different packaging. This, of course, is the Dianoga from their show. I think it was 2017. Yep, this was their 2017 exclusive. So different little packaging here, not on the traditional large blister. This is a special Boba Fett prototype that's also done on a different style of packaging as well. So they have done different packaging in the past, so this isn't really breaking with tradition. This is a little bit more compact because R2-D2 in scale with these guys is a little bit smaller. So they fit it in this little box, which is actually pretty convenient because it's easy to pack him in your suitcase or whatever if you're traveling back from the con with a ton of exclusives. And it's just easier for storage-wise to have him in this little box. So why don't we hop in and check this guy out, and we'll compare him to the original release of R2. Okay, so one piece of tape along the back, and we can pop the box open here. And we have a little form-fitting plastic and a little piece of plastic here to keep you from smudging up the chrome top. And then we have our unit here on a little bit of an angle in the box, basically because if he was up straight, he'd be taller than a box. So here he is. So let's check him out in detail. And we have his look of his Droid Factory version, featuring that third leg, which you don't get in the standard Kenner release. That's just R2 for you. His head, as you could hear, still clicks, which is great. I love the clicking, and that's sort of what makes really makes it for that old style Kenner R2. So other than that, he's featuring a lot of the similarities between the traditional R2-D2, which I'll have a close-up in a minute, and you can check that out. But other than that, the coolest feature is the third leg, which you don't see in the standard release. But this is removable. So if you wanted to take it off, you kind of got your traditional R2 right there. I think, yeah, you could even see the screw, which you could on the original figure as well. So he features that screw there, and you have your traditional R2-D2 release, but then the option to put this in here and make him Droid Factory R2-D2. So you get two versions here. So that is essentially your R2 Special Edition. And I bet you're wondering how he compares to the original. Let's take a look right now. So I just want to give you a quick close-up of R2 here so you can see him a little bit more clearly. And you can see all that detail from the Kenner style of the figure, and then including that clicking head, which in the initial release he was just on a metal rod that went through the body, and you fasten the head onto it and you plug the legs into it, so you didn't have the clicking feature. But he had the same legs essentially that the original release came with. I can't recall if these were painted or not in the Droid Factory version. And then this leg essentially looks exactly like the one that came in the Droid Factory release. So they got that detail very well. And he's got this brilliant white color, not faded at all. So that might be a fun variant to get from Diamond Select, like a slightly yellowed or faded look too. So you get sort of a classic aged look to these figures. But I guess you could do that on your own, just leaving it out in the sun a little bit. So that's our close-up look at the R2-D2 Jumbo Droid Factory. So this is your standard R2-D2 Jumbo release next to your R2-D2 Droid Factory. You can see identical features throughout here. There should really be not much of a difference. I think the coloring is exactly the same on the stickers. This looks a little darker than this one. And I think on the original Droid Factory it was a little darker as well. But if you're wondering if the size is the same, here you go. He is exactly the same. The same height, exactly the same. Same proportions, everything is the same on this guy. I think the coloring might be a little bit lighter on the callouts on the chrome, but again, the coloring on the Droid Factory original Kenner is a little different than the standard release, and that could just be time made them different, or it could just be they were dyed a little bit differently. I'm not sure. Just the ones I have, I know the coloring is just a little different between the two. So other than that, same stickers, same design. I think it's essentially the same figure, except the base. What they did here is made these little ridges, and that just allows this leg to plug in here. Whereas in the original base, it did not have those ridges, and I don't think the leg would necessarily fit because it's just too smooth. I could try it. We'll see if it stays in there or if it falls out. I mean, I guess it does. Look at that. It's pressure fitted. It doesn't have that ridge to sort of sit on, but you could still pressure fit it in there. So if you had the leg, I guess you could upgrade your traditional R2 into the Droid Factory R2 release. But other than that, it should basically be the same figure. It just has that ridge there to perfectly line up this leg and keep it from moving on you while you had the figure in sort of his go mode, his rollout mode. But there you have it. You have your R2-D2 standard jumbo line release, and then your R2-D2 Comic-Con Special Edition Droid Factory with that new box art of him. I believe it's set on the Death Star, or is that? Yeah, I think it might be. It's pretty sure that's not the Sandcrawler. So R2 on the Death Star there for his Droid Factory with that third leg. Never released on the Kenner line as a standard line figure either. He only came with the Droid Factory, and you had to build him, so he didn't come pre-assembled in his own box. So you're getting that value too of a pre-assembled R2 here. He doesn't pull apart. I mean, if with enough effort, he might, but the original one did. I don't think the original one clicked, so you get that clicking feature here, but it's pretty much the same base body. They just new tooling on the bottom here to have those ridges to connect this leg, and this leg is all newly tooled. It's not a copy of these other legs. It's a completely newly tooled leg, so you get that piece as well. So that is our look at the R2-D2 Droid Factory Jumbo. Next up, I'm going to show you guys the long-awaited Han Solo Stormtrooper Jumbo. Excited about this one. Not sure why it took so long for us to finally get that, but Kenner never made Han Storm. Well, not true. They made him in the 95 Power of the Force 2 collection. I think he came out in 96, but they never made him in the original Power of the Force collection. They just made Luke. So now we're finally getting justice for Han. So I'll show you that one next. So that's all for this time. As always, like, subscribe, and follow. There's always something new on Rebel Scum every day. And stay vigilant, you Rebel Scum.